here to talk to you a little bit about this testing week that we got starting as of today, finishing on Saturday. I think it's important we release a video so we can get into the intricacies of why we test, what we're looking to get out of this testing week, and talk about why we've actually selected some of the tests and what information it can provide us, and how it's then going to update our prescription and make you guys better athletes. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the aim. So the aim of this testing week, of course, for us as coaches, we've condensed 5 days of testing, which we think is going to provide us with as much data that's going to provide us with a real thorough, up-to-date understanding of where you guys are at as athletes. And when we talk about that, we're talking about fitness level 1 guys and girls, fitness level 2s, and our performance competitors. How the week's going to work is really we have 5 days of testing for each group. The tests for each group are going to be slightly different based upon things like training age, how long we've been doing this, your goals of this training program, whether it's performance-based or it's just health and body composition based. Really it's going to work with, we have day 1, day 2, and day 3. They're going to be set out as consecutive testing days, with day 4 as a rest day. And in that rest day, if you do miss any of the first 3 days, that's your chance to catch up on your tests. And then you'll have testing days on Friday and Saturday. So a total of 5 tests for everyone. And we'd like for everyone to try and complete all 5 tests. Our current testing model, really what we've been doing for the last couple of years is every 5th week or every 4th week, of a current training block, we implement some testing based upon the previous week of training, the previous 3 weeks of training. We're going to change that a little bit. We just finished an 8-week training block, really focus at developing strength again post CrossFit Open. So really this testing block is not necessarily related to the last 8 weeks of training, but more to paint a picture of where our athletes are at overall. So it's important that we do understand that. I'm going to hand it over to Jamie now, who's going to talk about this testing, why we test, and some of the intricacies in terms of the exercise, movements, and the energy system test involved.
Cool, I'm going to try and keep this fairly brief. We can talk about this a lot, and we kind of geek out on this stuff in terms of data and what we like to collect. But we're going to look for some classic strength to lift ratios, like our back squat to front squat ratio and our squat to deadlift ratio. That might give us an indicator of to when we might want to prioritize our training. I know right now, our lower body strength on a Monday has always been slightly similar. We might move people slightly differently depending on what those results might show. We might want to look into some left and right balances, or some single leg and double leg balances, as well as some press variations, whether your overhead press is similar to your horizontal press or your dip strength. That's for our fitness level 1 guys, fitness level 2 guys. That's a lot of where that testing is going to lie. For you guys, it's going to be where your current development is in terms of your experience in training, as well as your training age, like Ed said. For our slightly more advanced people, we're going to look into some gymnastic things like an AMRAP strict handstand push-up. That will give us an indicator of where we might want to prioritize there. If we see someone's strict press being very high, maybe their strict handstand push-ups being very low, we want to see why that might be and how we might want to fix that. We're also throwing in some skill pieces like kipping handstand push-up to show exactly that same ratio. If someone has lots of kipping and they're really good at that skill, although they have no strict, maybe they don't want to prioritize that kipping work and maybe we want to prioritize the strict work. Away from that strength stuff and that gymnastic stuff, we've gone into some conditioning pieces. This is a big chunk of what we do over here, and we like to think that we do it very differently and a lot more linear progression. In the testing week, however, it's fairly simple, single modality stuff, just like straight rowing. We think that that's going to allow us to see better data, easier to test, more valid results, all of those things. We've also put in some pacing work in there to make it a little more specific to the sport that we do, or mixed model fitness as we like to call it. And with that, we kind of put simple movements in, like wall balls, kettlebell swings, burpees, to allow us to have a better kind of result. But also with our performance people, maybe throw in some skill work like double unders to make it a little more complex. We haven't included any what most people call CrossFit workouts, like Fran, for example, because we don't think that having that number or that time really gives us a great indicator where people might want to work. If you see thrusters and pull-ups and they're not going unbroken, you might want to think, is it the thruster, is it the pull-up, is it the conditioning piece? Fran doesn't really tell that unless you know that person and watch them and kind of really work out how that is. So we haven't thrown in anything like that. Away from that, we've also thrown in some remedial tests like some seated dumbbell or rotation to see if that relates anything to our strength test and see if we have any imbalances there. We understand that this is not a perfect model. We have tried to, like Ed said, fit it all into 5 days and try to give us people enough volume to be able to control what they're doing and put it into a big testing environment.
I think Jamie hit everything on the head there. I think the overall aim to what we're going to take out of the information that we collect in this data in this testing week is we're going to have some really accurate data on our 3 different groups. So at the end of 5 days, we're going to have a pretty good idea of what our fitness level 1 athletes look like. We have a pretty good idea of what our fitness level 2 athletes look like. We'll have a very good idea of what our performance competitors look like. And what this is going to do going forward is it's going to take out any question marks as to which group we sit in, as well as allow us to more accurately prescribe exercise to ensure that you guys are moving forward and that there's longevity in our training rather than just making it guesswork. As Jamie said, in terms of the differences between fitness level 1, 2 and the performance competitors, really in the testing week, we're going to see big differences in terms of complexity. So we know that our overall goals for our fitness level 1 guys and girls is really just to get stronger. So with that, there's a lot of structural ratio testing, as well as testing for imbalances, anterior, posterior, left to right, etc. Fitness level 2, we start to dive into the ideas of Olympic lifting, some higher skill pieces, a lot of gymnastic pieces as well. And then for performance competitors, of course, we make the assumption that you guys are looking to compete in the sport to some level, whether it's local competitions, regional, or you just love the idea of training this way, like an elite athlete would. So with that, expect to see a bit more variation, a little bit less structure, but really we need to test to see if our guys and girls are meeting some basic requirements. Anything else, Jamie? Cool. Perfect. Just lastly, just to close us off on testing, days on and off, we talked about that already. So we're going to go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays are days on, Thursdays when you're resting or a catch-up day, and then we're going to test. We know our days on and days off. Remember, we do, if for whatever reason you're away this week, we would like you to come in next week, and although it might mean missing that first week of the new training block, we would like to collect more data. So please speak to one of us as coaches as to whether or not it's appropriate for you to test. Next one, accuracy results. Really important that we're not cheating. I know you heard it many times, it's cheating yourself, but really it's cheating us as coaches because we want accurate data. So please be honest with your testing. Remember, there's no pass or fail with this. It's simply we just want to see where everyone's at. Don't stress, have fun. I think it's really important. As I said, this is not a reflection of where you're at as an athlete. This is just us seeing where, as a whole, each level of clientele is at. Last one, complete all 5. Yeah, just bear in mind that typically with testing weeks, the volume is actually a little bit lower. So we would like you to attend all 5 days, even if you're typically someone who trains, maybe 2, 3, or 4 times a week. This won't be too much of a taxing week on you in terms of your nervous system, your muscular system. So let's give it a good crack, and we look forward to seeing some great results.
Yeah, I would just say, I want to say what Ed said a bit more. If you don't hit your 1RM this week, don't worry, it's not going to really affect our results massively. Just take it as it goes. If, by the way, all this stuff makes no sense to you, do what you normally do, come in day out, train, trust us as coaches, and we'll kind of geek out on data and hopefully get better results at the same time.
Cool, thanks guys.